You know, on this program, we talk about going home. We talk about leaving America and going to Africa to work with our brothers and sisters in Africa to build infrastructure, to build highways, roadways, ports, hospitals, schools, towns, villages, water systems, wind systems, solar systems. Everything that Africa needs for African people and the management of African land must be done by Africans. But yet, we see the presence of the European everywhere, and it just saddens me the way we behave and act. Before I bring Brother Bomani on, I was telling him about an article I've seen in the Atlanta Black Star. 7 reasons why people in the African diaspora are repatriating to Ghana, West Africa. Now, I've been to Ghana many times. Who's the same? Those Ghanaians who may be listening, and they would reply, Mahoye. And then, of course, it's all good. You say Magasi, which is thank you. Land of new opportunity. Unlike Silicon Valley, businesses in Ghana are very interested in adding American Africans with interest and talent in technology. Companies like Blogging Ghana have built a strong social media global platform, making it a viable employment landing place. These firms are interested in changing an ever-emerging industry, meaning the opportunity is there to be a part of something bold and aggressive. Also, English is the official language in Ghana, so there's a prime opportunity right there. I know that's why I've always said to go to Ghana first, because there's not too much of a language barrier that you would have to face, and of course the receptiveness and the beauty of the Ghanaian people. Cultural connectedness. American Africans move to Ghana to experience the heartwarming personal pride that comes with living in the motherland that they cannot get anywhere else in the world. Once you accept it's your home, why would you want to stay? Why would you want to stay in your home? This is Jimmy Thorne, an American African who moved to Accra, Ghana, which is the capital of Ghana, from North Carolina 8 years ago. And he told this to the Christian Science Monitor. This is where we come from originally, so maybe that's why we're here. Divine providence, and I agree. Prodigal sons returning home. That's what we must do. Financial and political stability. Neighboring countries' instability has helped stabilize Ghana and bolstered to the forefront as a viable alternative for American Africans seeking an African experience in a stable, safe environment. There is no civil unrest, so there are no fears of conflict or uprising that could tear apart the country, according to whosworld.com. Lifestyle advantages. The coast of Ghana is breathtakingly beautiful, with gorgeous white sand beaches that offer a wonderful reprise from everyday life most people seek. ExpectArrival.com points out that there's also luxury hotels on the oceans that are inviting and offer scenic views and first-rate restaurants. The blizzards that pounded the U.S. in the Northeast and in the Midwest and other evidence of global warming or drastic climate changes are not factors in Ghana. AfricanInside.com says the weather ranges year-round from 82 degrees to 100 degrees and sun lovers, a sun lover's paradise. It is a sun lover's paradise. The friendliness of the people, which I mentioned earlier. The people are welcoming, and the country has developed a level of stability. You'll be living among people who are just as excited to know you as you are to know them. Ghanaians are very hospitable, which makes it easy to make friends and quickly build a network, which is ultimately the key to survival. Those from the diaspora will enjoy making a life in a place that will make them feel connected and celebrate in a way that they probably don't fully enjoy in the West, or so-called, and being so-called minorities, because you're not a minority, really nowhere on the planet. The ability to grow. Many American Africans move to Ghana in retirement because they can live comfortably off their Social Security checks that they can start charities to help in many areas that are needed. Wherever it is that we find ourselves in Africa is where we should be. Says Amakus. I know Sister Amakus. She's a good friend. I've been to one Africa. I've stayed there many times. Sister Amakus. She's from New York. And her and her husband, Nana Okofu, who was a firefighter, like I'm a firefighter. He was a firefighter in New York City. In fact, when I told some brother firefighters from New York I was in Ghana, I said, oh, do you know, well, his name was Benny Robinson. Do you know Benny Robinson? I said, no. He's living in Ghana. Oh, you mean Nana Okofu? Of course I do, yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, he passed a few years ago. He passed. But Sister Amakus, and I saw her a couple of years ago here in Atlanta, and she looks great. Sister Kofu moved to Ghana from New York City 24 years ago and now runs a health spa and has offered books on repatriation. Whether we come from Sierra Leone or Ghana or wherever else, she said, we are the result of the transatlantic and European trade. Chiefs and other political leaders have made citizenship to those originally from the diaspora less difficult to secure. And of course, we'll find that out by Brother Bomani. We'll see what he has to say. And the last one, Ghana accepts African diaspora with open arms. Well, the African Union and African non-governmental organizations are also working to lure African descendants abroad back to the continent. Ghana is leading the way. In 2012, Ghanaian Foreign Minister Mohamed Mumundi spoke at the first Global African Diasporan Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, telling the audience his government has given a right of abode in Ghana to any person of African descent from the diaspora. This includes the right to enter the country without a visa, to remain indefinitely, and to work there without the usual work permit. The Ghanaian government has also offered an official apology for Ghana's role in the trade of African people. And there is reportedly free land set aside for individuals from the diaspora. Free land. We'll talk about that and more. And on the line with me is Brother Bomani. Brother Bomani, good morning. How are you today?
Greetings, Brother Oshi. This is Bomani Tambor. How are you?
I am doing fine, Brother Bomani. I am doing great. I know you just heard me read what I read from the Atlanta Black Star on some of the reasons why some American Africans and other Africans in the diaspora might want to repatriate and go back home to Ghana. You know, you have been doing this for how many years now? Taking brothers and sisters back home to Africa.
Yes, for 11 straight years, from December 2006 to the last tour we had was November 2017. So 11 straight years, 13 straight journeys to Ghana, and 2 of them including Togo and Benin.
And how many people would you estimate that you have taken to the continent, particularly to Ghana and other parts of Africa over the years?
Yeah, our main tours over the last 11 years has been Ghana and Togo and Benin. I've done twice in 2009 and 2017. But altogether, all the people that we have taken to Ghana has been just a little bit over 300 on 13 different journeys, and our group size are between 20 to 40. The smallest amount of people we have taken is 8 and 9 in December 2006 and July 2011. And then the largest groups have been 42 in October 2007 and then November 2017 to Ghana, Togo, and Benin. So we have built a base to specialize in what you consider a busload of people traveling around the country and making full accommodations on all aspects to make the journey as organized as possible.
And so, usually, you have been, like you stated, going to Ghana, and I've been to Ghana a number of times myself, and I feel really blessed every time I've gone there. And in fact, I've told people that if you want to go to Africa, I would suggest that you go to Ghana first. And the reason why I've always suggested that is because the friendliness of the people, the atmosphere, and so forth, and the fact that there's not that big of a language barrier. you'll get a good feel of what Africa is about. And I'm quite sure you could feel the same way in the French-speaking countries of, of Senegal or Cote d'Ivoire or something like that, or even in Southern Africa. But I don't know, I just feel very at home in Ghana.
Yes, Ghana's home. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica, grew up there for 11 years, and then my family moved to Brooklyn, New York. And while moving, living in the South, both in Virginia and now here in the Atlanta area, I've lived here for about 16 years. And then making that move to Ghana has been a reminder of just growing up in Jamaica, growing up in that tropical life, but also being around a rich cultural environment. So I've been to 9 different countries in Africa, but Ghana is my #1 country, Ghana and Ethiopia, as far as what we feel is a good introduction to Africa. So it's a means of just our people just opening up to just taking that one first journey and thinking about all the possibilities of the future. Because I heard all your details of as you read through the information as far as repatriation, and it's key for us to understand that the whole African continent is not all the same, and we have to just understand the terrain and make things work, put the things that's in place that we need to be at home.
So in terms of the African countries welcoming us, obviously some are more welcoming than others. And I know that Ghana has really placed itself out there to welcome diasporan Africans. Well, how many diasporan Africans would you say now presently live in Ghana?
I would say over several thousand, more or less. And exactly, Ghana is one of the few countries I know where I know over 30 plus Africans from the diaspora, the Caribbean, Europe, and Black America has received citizenship. When you think of other countries, you might hear, you hear about Isaiah Washington and Sierra Leone, but that was, a different program that he got connected with. But basically, this is not popular, but our connection in Ghana and the things that collectively we have done as Africans in the diaspora, as far as building schools, doing tourism, connecting people, repatriation, investing, and all the wonderful things that we have done, this the pureness of our heart. It's show you that us doing these things and us showing a natural interest in Africa and us wanting to learn about that connection is open up doors of opportunity. Because if I can't think of many other countries where I see our people going and doing wonderful things, and the actions of all the works we have done over the years, and plus we talk about Kwame Nkrumah and the vision he had for Africans in the diaspora to return home to the African continent and be a part of the growth. All of that makes sense, and all of that is working out, and Ghana's taking the lead, and other countries are opening up because they're seeing that we must move forward from to be more independent and to be able to kind of balance the brain drain. Can you think of it? Some of the best talents and skills and minds from the African continent, the Caribbean, they're here in the Americas, or excuse me, they're here in America, and they're also here in these European nations, and they're instead of working towards our interests, they're basically working a paycheck or a job, and they're distracted from nation building, and they're focusing on making enterprise and nations stable. So those of us in the African diaspora that have these unique skills and talents and are open to repatriation, we can definitely harness an energy to where more and more countries will be open up. And the energy from Ghana alone is spearheading that. So I'm proud to always bring groups of people there, not for only this tourism, but also for every other aspect of things, repatriation, investment, but also letting our people see us coming home, which is one of the most important factors. Is like we can be here talking about repatriation, nation building, and many other things, but if we don't show the force or the energy of us caring to be returning and doing all the necessary things, then it doesn't really make it as vivid as it could. So so I'm proud to be a part of this history and looking forward to really connecting more of us there, so we can make bigger impacts to where we can be a part of the future of doing manufacturing work, and parts of Ghana that are not developed, that are open to sustainable living, we can be a good flow, a good connection into that world also. Because going into the major cities when you're dealing with repatriation is going to suck the life out of you, because it tend to be the same as here in America.
Right. And that's the thing. As you were saying that, I just kept thinking about it, about how Nkrumah and Patrice Lumumba and Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop and others who understood that Africa must be united, not just Ghana, Nigeria, whatever country, but there must be a one Africa, that we are one African people. And whatever talent that we have, we bring to that to develop Africa. And I know the most technologically advanced Africans on the planet, they're here.
Absolutely, right? Right? Making the big bucks.
Yeah. But imagine if they went to school to get these talents. Not that they could go beg Europeans for jobs, but they would get these talents to go to Africa to help build and to teach others how to manage the land, how to build highway roads and ports and so forth and sky, whatever.
Absolutely.
I mean, that should be the vision. And I think that, hopefully Ghana is leading the way. Well, Ghana was the first country to gain independence. Well, maybe Ghana will be the first country that will help us understand the importance of repatriation of African people throughout the diaspora with skills and talents to bring for its development.
Absolutely, brother. And you make a great point. And the main aspect of this is there's people that's from the Caribbean and from from the African continent that's here, and that's want to go home and open to going home. But the issue that they run into, and because we have to look at the balance of it, is that when they're trying to get jobs and opportunities, number one is far and few and very limited, and it doesn't a lot of times get them access to growing in their field. So unfortunately, they get offers by so much other people and so much other companies here in America and Europe, and it throws them off. But what we have to begin to think about as we begin to repatriate is the factor that we must be a part of these grown institutions on the entire continent, to where if anyone wants to be the best engineer, they can be the best engineer by going to, by being in Africa, or any other trades or field or careers, and because one of the when we continue to lose generations of our greatest people, and we can go back to the transatlantic European slave trade, that was one of the initial energy that sucked the life out of the continent. It took the best of our brothers and sisters, and here we are today, where we still see the same thing. So, that is one of the main part of our repatriation, the brain drain, and going back and getting our scientists and our engineers and our best minds to put together a plan how we can work together, our brothers on the ground, and get access to land and build these sustainable communities to where we are controlling the utilities that we have to pay to other people here, the city or the state, for water, electricity, internet, gas, and so on. So that also creates those opportunities, and when you're doing that and you're creating them at a bigger pace, you begin to harness to where your great minds can study and work in these industries without having to think about going to America. It's it's not as simple as it sounds, but it's also that path of our responsibility when we think about returning home and the things that we can do, and those are the things that create those investment opportunities in a country like Ghana.
Well, prior to you coming on, I was talking about what happened just recently in Zimbabwe with Robert Mugabe being disposed,
right,
and the former vice president now taking the leadership. And one of the first things that he did was give land back to the Caucasians, land back to the Europeans who stole the land. And you had to me it was a spectacle of a shame. I mean, our brothers and sisters hailing these Caucasians coming back, hollering and hooping and hollering, and then he said, we want to become again a part of the British Commonwealth. And I'm like, damn.
Wow.
It just got even worse, and see, what should happen
gotta be worst fear that as soon as something happened to him, that this was gonna happen. The person that took the
Yeah,
next position, and that's why I always thought that he had someone lined up, like and it's the same
right.
issue where Fidel Castro was in place, and at least he had his brother. But it's like we have to groom leadership for generations and generations to come in the military format, to where we always have the next best person that's going to represent our nation correctly in place for at least
See, that's what should happen with us. We should develop succession plans where we are grooming people to take it to the next level. What should have happened in 1980, finally, when they got Zimbabwe or even Ghana, any other country, is we're grooming for the future. We're going to send people out. If we can't train them or teach them ourselves to come back to be engineers, electricians, and city planners and so forth, to build up Africa. They should have sent some people out many years ago for him to learn how to run commercial farms. So we could kick all of the Caucasians out, send them back to Europe, and have farmland that is our own. This is the part that just bothered me so badly when I seen that piece the other day. That this is the reason why what you're doing is so important. Because what you're doing is saying to Africans here in America and throughout the diaspora is that you have a home to go to, that you are needed. Your skills, your talents are needed. This is a new frontier for African people to go home to control the resources that are under the feet of African people that everybody wants, think they can't do without, and they then don't want to pay for. That's a Dr. John Henry Clark quote, Bomani.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that quote, always a powerful quote, and that's still the way it is. And, that's why we have to be prepared for war as far as this organizing the best of our minds. It's like a game of chess or like a strategy game. And it's like if we have to look across the entire board as far as, as far as what other people are doing. And, just in the light of Marcus Garvey, when Marcus Garvey talking about Africa for the Africans, the same concept. We see what other nations and race of people are doing. We see what India and other nations in that region of Asia is doing as far as their enterprise, and they're building their manufacturing base. They're locking down on trade, and they're making sure that they get the upper hand over the Europeans and America as far as any kind of investment or anything in going on in Africa. As a matter of fact, we're having conversation talking about over the last 2 decades that the Asian nations have just overtaken investment and development opportunities and trades and investment to the point where over the last 10 years, all of the conference has been just between African nations and Asian nations, to the point where they don't even invite America or the European nations to their conference. So, but at the same time too, we don't want to be colonized by Asian nations.
No, we don't want to be colonized by
we
anybody.
must,
You're right.
exactly. So we must look at the vision of what they're doing and say, you know what, we can do these developments ourselves after a period of time. We don't need you guys to dominate our nation, because once foreigners start coming into your country and they see how beautiful Africa is and all the incredible African women, next thing you know, they're trying to move their population in. Because when you think about the Asian countries, the majority of them, most of the land is inhabitable. So example, Japan and China. I think half of China is inhabitable. So they have this huge population in most of these countries, and they also are lacking farming as far as, so they're looking to get more farmland in Africa, and altogether looking to just get all the resources. So everything for these nations is Africa, and so we as Africans in the diaspora must look at our most important possession and change our dynamics of focus away from what we have been misled by our so-called leaders in the last 100 years, with the exception of Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey saw the vision of us being in Africa, and if other so-called black leaders would have supported him, that could have put us in a position to where we had a repatriation movement going on, to where we've been able to be a stronger people in Black America and in the Caribbean. But instead, we're just weak across the board.
I agree. Because it's pathetic that there's a piece came out that you have Chinese men marrying Ugandan women. The purpose, of course, is to stake their claim on the land. They're marrying Ugandan women, you know. But we're going to take a break, brother. We're going to take once we come back from that break, we'll continue this conversation. I'm talking to Brother Bomani, talking about repatriation and opportunities of investment in Africa, specifically Ghana, but just all of Africa, because it is all ours. So you stay right here with us. You're listening to African Perspectives here on the Motherland Media Network on TimeForAnAwakening.com and BlackTalkRadioNetwork.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. You're listening to African Perspectives here on the Motherland Media Network on TimeForAnAwakening.com and BlackTalkRadio.com. And of course, Afara Ghani. Today's answer to what's the news is Mani, faith. Not just a faith in ourselves or a faith in God, but a faith in ourselves and each other to overcome whatever roadblocks and detours are put in our path. That song is from the CD 7 Principles by Kwame Cobb and Shaban Duka. One of my favorite songs on that 7 Principles, of all the principles they have on there, of Umoja, Ujima, Kuchitaga Leah, Mia, Kumba, and of course, Imani. So we're here talking with Brother Bomani, but before I get back to Bomani, and I do have a caller waiting, so I'm going to get that caller too. We'll just give our lineup again here on Time for an Awakening Radio. We have tonight, I believe it is tonight, that My Black 365 will air tonight. I think it's at either 8 o'clock Eastern or 9 o'clock Eastern time tonight, right here on Time for an Awakening Radio. And of course, this program is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And Wednesday is Sister POC with Revive from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And on Thursdays, it's Uplifting Us, the Economic Development Cooperative for our people in the spirit of Ujamaa, or like we like to say, Family Center Economics. That is from 9 p.m. to 11. And then on Friday, if it's Friday and it's 8 p.m. Eastern time, it is Time for an Awakening with Brother Elliot and Brother Richard. And on Saturday, SST, that's Saturday Sports Talk with Brother Troy Wilmore. Brother Troy Wilmore comes on at 10 a.m. to 12 noon on Saturdays. And then Saturday early afternoon is Dr. William Rogers' Black Theology Think Tank from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then on Sundays from 11 to 1, it is the POC. It was Revive. And then Sunday evening at 7 p.m., it's Time for an Awakening with Brother Elliot and Brother Richard. Those are the lineups. We're going to get more programming. As I listened to the program last night, they talked about some really good things. But we're talking today with Brother Bomani Tambor, and we're talking about repatriation, going back home, and also to investing in Africa. We have a caller. If we want to take this caller. Good morning, caller 215. Good morning.
Hey, Brother Oshi, how you doing, my brother? Happy New Year to you and Brother Bomani.
Hey, brother. Hey, hi.
Greeting, brother. How are you?
How y'all brothers doing on this New Year's Day?
Yeah. That's what they say.
Yeah, right, that's right. That's what they say. Brother Oshi, you know I'm with you on that. That's what they say. I like how you put that. But I just want to call up and say I'm enjoying the show, and as far as investment in Africa, I've been wanting to try to get with a brother or sister or anyone that's of our here and of my mindset, Brother Ocean, Brother Bomani, that invests in Africa. Because right now I have an ETF and a fund that invests in Africa, but it's like kind of through them to get my grip. But I want one that's grassroots and stuff, that invests primarily in Africa, that's by us, to get my drift.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. And
well, go ahead, Brother Bomani.
Absolutely, and many things that you want to do there in Ghana, you have to just be open to independently. What we do is an annual tour to Ghana every May. And what I want to do is share the website, because that's where we have access to just the full details, so everyone can process it. It's www.africafortheafricans.org.
But I'm grabbing, as you speaking, but I'm grabbing, that's my fault. I should have had something to write with that, but I picked up the phone. I wasn't even thinking like that. But I do have a pen now. Could you keep that website?
Brother Joe, you know that when you come on this, when you turn this program on, have pencil and paper ready.
No, you're right, Brother Oshi. That's my bad. That's definitely my bad on that. I take the hit on that one. I should have been ready, but I'm ready now, though.
Absolutely. It's Africa, AFRICA, for FOR, the THE, Africans with an S at the end, AFRICANS.org. So that's Africa for the Africans.org. And once you get to our website, you just go to the main menu and you'll see all of our tours for for this year and next year. And you can click on it and then you'll see all your details, tour overview, itinerary, general terms, what to pack, what to bring, visa details, and so on. And what we specialize in is this preparation for you to travel to the African continent, connect you with our business and investment conference and the networking and gathering that we do there in Ghana as we go around the country, and connect you to land sites where you can see other people who have lived in the diaspora, who have acquired land, and see how they live and go through that process. So it's a 2-week journey. We do it around the time. The next upcoming one is May 23rd to June 5th. So within that 2-week time frame, we're visiting the Pan-African history. We're going to Holocaust dungeons. We're going to craft villages. We're doing nightlife, networking, business. So it's a full journey to give you a full feel of the experience. And one of the most important things is you're going to be sharing the experience with your brothers and sisters from the diaspora. And then a lot of the key people that you're going to be meeting with or connecting with are going to be your brothers and sisters that have repatriated. So that really fulfills our program. And then we offer just a lot of connections if someone is ready to make a move and get all those things in place. So it's something that I've worked towards the last 11 straight years, because when you're looking to repatriate, it's no information online. It's the lack of resources out there. And it's been that way historically, unfortunately. So we've decided to make it a strong movement, and that's when we started in our business, Africa for the Africans.
Well, Brother Bomani, I thank you for that, because I'm definitely going to go on that website tomorrow, because it is important, because like I said, we have definitely got to invest in the motherland, because as you well know, Brother Bomani and Brother Oshi, everybody's in Africa. You see Chinese is in Africa now, you know, the Europeans, the Caucasians from America is over there, because everybody know what that country's potential is, you know, it's been said about Africa. I remember Minister Farrakhan saying when he was over there at that time, he said the land, the water, the soil so fertile you can almost spit and stuff will start growing. And they realize the potential. Russia got their little Greek grubby hands in it. I mean, everybody, you know, want to be in Africa, want to break the resources out of Africa. So I'm saying to myself, it's a point, like you say, Brother Bomani, that we as people of color, we as Africans and stuff, we have got to reclaim our land and make sure that our people benefit from it. We can't have all these people keep coming over there, raping the land, taking the natural resources, the diamonds, the minerals, the gold, the zinc, all the stuff that the Creator put there. We got to benefit from that and stuff. And we got to make sure that we have in place conscious sisters and brothers that's in Africa. We can't have these corrupt stool pigeons or corrupt colonials that look like us, that's nothing but front for white people that gonna let white people come over there and rape the land. We gotta have conscious sisters and brothers in these different African countries, whether it be Liberia, whether it be Kenya, whether it be Nigeria, whatever, Ghana, whatever. We gotta have strong sisters and brothers that really love our people and got to love our people to make sure that our people benefit from that land. Because there's no reason why in Africa right now, whether it's South Africa, whether it's West Africa, North Africa, there's no reason why our people in Africa should have to be living hand and mouth. And no reason here in 2017, black folks should not be living in shanty shacks in Africa, in South Africa. Them Caucasians need to be ran the hell out of there, and our people be the rightful owners in there. Like same in Uganda and everywhere else in Africa. Our people should be running it, and our people should be benefiting from that land. They should have a high quality of life where they're eating good food, living in good houses, and our children going to a good school system and everything. That stuff needs to be. That should be our goal. from this day forward and stuff. We need to make that our priority and keep it moving and stuff, and then make no apologies for it and stuff, you know. About time the black man rise and black woman rise up in Africa as well as around the world and reclaim what's rightfully ours.
Ashe. Thank you, brother.
Ashe. Thanks, brother Oshi. Thanks, brother Bomani. I'm going to definitely go on that website. Thanks so much. Good show, brother Oshi, as always.
Yes, appreciate your energy, brother. Powerful, powerful sentiment. Absolutely, and we'll keep it strong.
Brother Bomani, thank you so much, brother. Y'all brothers have a blessed one.
You too, brother. Thank you, brother. You know, I've been saying this for quite some time about us returning home. You know, but I know that for many of us in our leadership, and our Christian leadership or religious leadership, when you put it that way, we're always trying to make it happen here for us. And to the point that many of our people, whether in the Caribbean, throughout the diaspora, they don't look at Africa in that way. They look at Africa through the Europeans' eyes, look at Africa through Western television and Western media. And of course, some of our people who look at it through that prism, through that view, have a disdain and embarrassment and hatred towards Africa. You know, and then when you look at the amount of Africans who are trying to leave, when you see what is happening in Northern Africa, and not just in Libya, because enslavement of African people, it's still going on in Mauritania. It's still going on in other parts of Northern Africa, you know. So it doesn't look good, but yet, for those of us like yourself and me, we're still optimistic. We still believe and we still try hard to help our people understand that this is where we belong. And this is where we need to come back to. And these are the things that we need to do to make it happen.
Exactly. Now, as we talk about Ghana, Ghana is one of those countries that end up putting it into perspective to where you can have the possibility of seeing that you can live in an African continent. Because when you start thinking about the different things that's going around the African continent, it can easily throw you off to say, do I really want to go to this continent that's full of certain things going on? And the big thing about it is, just like anywhere else, there's a lot of things going on. But, you have to focus on certain countries where you can build a connection. So I really believe we can really build from there in Ghana. We have all of the resources, the connections, and some of our best minds of our people who have repatriated there. And then there's a few other countries that we can also do the same and really just begin to grow from there. But we need more and more support from our people in the African diaspora. As I was talking about earlier, that the repatriation movement have never been the great vision of our so-called black leaders. It's more so been integrating in America and being a part of the status quo and just being basically modern day slaves. So, we'll see what goes on in the next few decades. But, when we compare things and where we are, it's really one move for us left to make. And that's, repatriation.
It is. And it is the right move. But, just like we both understand that our people collectively don't understand it because we have been trained to think that we're Americans or we're and you see what's going on, and so there's no affection and there's no concern. Our political leadership, the Congressional Black Caucus didn't say anything, from my understanding. I follow the news, didn't say anything about what was going on with the enslavement of Africa. Haven't said anything about their other involvement of outside countries into Africa. The Congressional Black Caucus, instead of trying to get more people elected to political office and Democrats and all those bulls, they need to look at developing African people holistically and globally. Of course, I know I'm not naive, brother Bomani. I'm not naive. I know that may not be happening, but that's what I'm saying should happen, because this whole idea of Africa coming into its own, into this so-called 21st century, must be a holistic approach. That regardless of what religion you are, whether you're a Christian or Muslim or whatever, that you are African. In fact, the most revolutionary thing that we can do at this very moment is to say, I am an African. I am an African person. You know, and I know that for a lot of us, you know, we don't want to be African. We want to be black. We want to be black. And of course, black is a color. Black is an adjective. Africa is a noun. A noun describes a person, place, or thing. That's always said that we are African. And the word that goes in front of the noun describes what kind of noun that is. So the word that goes in front of Africa describes the kind of African that you are. We're here in America. We're American Africans. You're from Jamaican. You're Jamaican African. If we were in Ghana, there would be Ghanaian African, Nigerian African, Nubian African, British African, French African. We're Africans. And if we had that kind of collective mindset, imagine the power that we would have. Imagine us now controlling the resources, controlling the land in Africa, building, feeding each other. Hell, Africa can literally feed the world. It has that kind of land and arid land. And you wouldn't have to eliminate wildlife to do it. You just have to manage the land. The potential is all there for us, except that the fact that we haven't embraced it. And I'm glad that you're on today talking about the idea of embracing that, to helping our brothers and sisters go back home. As far as, Brother Bomani, as far as your tours are concerned, how many people would you venture to say that actually made a move to go back and now live in Ghana? Do you know?
I want to say off the top of my head, about 6 people have moved and about another 20, 30 people in that process. Most of the time, you know, when you come on a journey like this, it's a fact-finding research mission. So sometimes you realize that you have to spend more time on additional planning to make it done right. And then sometimes people already have things in place. So things that, you know, more and more people are looking to make that move. But we have, you know, several people there that's doing well for themselves and enjoying the movement. As far as their, you know, their contributions there in Ghana, and they feel well with the situation. And the more and more of us that make that move, the better it is for the rest of us to connect with each other. That way we can just, you know, be stronger.
Right. And I think that as it happens, we need to develop some visual, some film on it, some DVD on it, or, you know, to show where brothers and sisters who came from the States, who have taken your trip or trips like yours to various African countries and now want to move there and show them going through that process. You know, because a lot of times people, you know, you can hear it, but you need to sometimes see it. So when you see it, you can really visualize that, and you can put yourself in that position, you know, to really make it happen. I know that there was a number of Caucasians in South Africa who just couldn't stomach, who just couldn't envision living under African rule. And so some of those Caucasians left. And American Africans got a lot of those homes, beautiful homes with indoor swimming pools and so forth in South Africa. I've seen a documentary on that about 10 or so, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. I don't know if you've ever seen it or heard about it. Have you?
I'm familiar with the situation as far as the time frame when you had a certain percentage of Europeans leaving, but you know they're still there in South Africa, and majority of ownership still. But
oh yeah, I'm just saying that there's no doubt that Caucasians still run South Africa. Believe me. I mean, you know, because the deal was struck with Nelson Mandela. That was a deal. We'll let you out of prison. You can become president as long as you don't nationalize anything, as long as we can control the minerals and we can control the military. But you can run it. Because, see, when you control the wealth and the military, you're in control.
Absolutely.
I don't give a damn how many dark faces you may have in a high place. I don't care who the president is. You're in control, and that's what is still happening in South Africa. They still control the diamond industry and the mines, the gold and so forth, the Krugerrand, all of that. You know, so I wasn't an illusion, but I do know that a number of them did leave because they just did not want to live with the thought of an African person ruling them, so to speak. And a number of American Africans took advantage of that. I would hope they came there with the idea of helping the brothers and sisters in South Africa to gain more of a control of their government and more control of the resources of their land. I hope that's the case, but hey, you know, because that's what needs to happen. We need to make that happen. We need to make that bridge, and you are in the process of doing it. And I thank you for that, brother. Now, your trip in May, and you said that's May 5th? No, May 23rd to June 5th.
Yes, May 23rd to June 5th, 2018 is our next journey to Ghana, and then the next one after that is May 22nd to June 4th, 2019.
Okay, and how many people do you anticipate?
We can bus load of 30 to 40 people. The last few journeys we have had, that's been a number. It was 43 of us on the last journey in November, and it was 26 of us in May of last year. Both Ghana tours.
And what is the average cost?
Average cost is looking at anywhere from $3,000 to $3,700. That's if you're doing a 9-day tour to Ghana, or if you're doing a 13-day tour to Ghana.
Okay, anywhere between $3,000 and $4,000 roughly.
Exactly. Full package, flights, full accommodations, transportation, tours, breakfast, gourmet dinner, access entrance to all sites, activities, business investment conference, full tour staff, shopping, nightlife. Just so that's a full journey to give you just a full transformation experience. So it's called a journey of a lifetime because it's literally one of those journeys that you prepare, and it's set to be, you know, we compare it to where that will be your best journey if you compare it to any other journey that you're taking in your life. We put that much time, heart, and soul into it to make sure your African journey to the continent is the best journey that you would ever take in your life.
Well, you know, right now, if an individual who is listening and would really like to make this happen, you know, is there? Well, let me take this call. I'm gonna take a call, and then I want to talk about how you can develop a stage to make that happen. Because I would really want a lot of brothers and sisters to take advantage of this. This is a great opportunity, as you said. Okay, caller, area code 267. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good afternoon, Brother Oshi, and I want to say good afternoon to your guest.
Hey,
hey, how you doing, man? And you know what, Brother Oshi, before I ask your guest a couple of questions, I'm glad that you started off the program like you did, because I was just explaining to my wife the same exact thing that how you opened the show. This ain't no New Year. If you really look at this calendar, Julius Caesar and stuck a month in there. Augustus Caesar and stuck a month in there. October is really the 8th month. So, I'm glad you opened up like that, man, because the New Year for me is when stuff gets warmer and stuff is growing and animals start coming out. Okay, so now for brother, I would like to say I'm listening to the conversation now. When I was down in the Caribbean, different islands, they actually said to me that they had programs where if you have a certain skill, they will relocate you. Is anything like that going on in Ghana?
I can't say directly, but in general, that's what's needed. So basically, people like ourselves have created our own programs and own ways to where we can assist our own brothers and sisters to come to Africa. That's something we're looking to do at a bigger stage, especially with we've cleared 2.2 acres of land in the center of Ghana to build our new headquarters for our technology and our business administration that does Africa tourism investments and repatriation connection, and also is where we'll have our kind of guest homes to stay in. So that's our main focus right there, is to really work programs like that and work certain connections to where we're connecting with the people that are there and see who needs what kind of help. But that's one of the main things Kwame Nkrumah was doing initially, and he was one of the first African presidents to really have a program like that. Same thing with Jerry Rawlings. Our current government has offered, the past government has offered citizenship. So Ghana is one of those few countries that those things are really going on in. And it's up to other people if they know about other countries to let us know. But I've been in this business for over 11 years, and it's not a lot of country you hear about. I hear there's certain opportunities in Southern Africa, but you never hear people speak much of it. But those things are going on, but it's not a direct connection like that. So you can always stay in the loop of what we're doing, and if you want to share certain things. But the main thing is to work an angle to join us on one of these journeys to Africa, to Ghana particularly, so you can get a feel of the country.
Right, now I heard about your trip in May, but I have something scheduled in May, so it might be 2019. But the thing I'm looking at right now, I come from out of it, I've been living in this country for 59 years, so I come from a capitalist mindset, I'll be honest with you. And the thing about it, when I go to Ghana, I know it's actually going back home, but when I go to Ghana, the thing I'm looking at is, how am I going to still provide for my family? How am I going to still, these are some honest questions that I'm looking at. I also would like to hear from someone who made that transition to live there. How are they maintaining, because I've always dreamed about, and it's in the back of my mind once I retire,
yeah, exactly.
I can move out of this country. You know what I mean? Get out of it.
Yeah, I can share a few things with you. I can share a few things with you. Most of the people who have made a move have been people who are retired, so they use their retirement money to pay for their living expenses. And when you are using your living expenses, when you compare living expenses between in America and Ghana, you're gonna make out better in Ghana, especially if you're living in a sustainable community where you're getting the best of water from the water system that you were building. You're talking about a communal electricity and all aspects of communal living, so your cost has been dramatically cut down as far as what you need and how much you need to live, and you're growing all of the foods that you need organically. So those are the factors that change the dynamics of it. And then for people like myself, where I'm a business person, so I'm doing all kind of business, including tours, investment, including things like we're putting our money together, acquiring bus lines, and different things. So you become a person that's more like an investor. The country needs investors and business people and people who are going to create opportunities. There are positions in the country. Most of those positions are going to be like universities where you have to have a PhD or a higher level of degree to teach the higher level of your profession there at the university, which some people I know have come to, and then some people have invested in bed and breakfast, lodge, different type of services. So it's there, but you have to really just add in your skills and your niche into it. So it does take a little planning.
All right, bro. Hey, look, I'm going to jot down your information when I get a chance. I'm looking for a pen now because I really would like to talk to you off there, just to get some things started. Because, like I said, it's always been a dream for me to get out of here. You know what I mean? And I might even do it earlier, depending on if they need someone with my skill set down there in that country. I know my company always sends us down there in Africa to upkeep their systems, but we'll talk about that off the air. So if you can, before you leave the air today, could you please leave your contact information?
Absolutely. I'll read you my number right now. My direct business mobile number is 404-931-9429, and I'm here in South Atlanta. And our website is africafortheafricans.org, and that's spelled AFRICAFORTHEAFRICANS.org. So that's
the last Africa. I got Africa for the Africa.org.
Africa for the Africans.
Oh, African.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you. .org. Got you.
Exactly.
All right, brother. I appreciate it.
The name is Bomani Tambor, so you can type the name in Google and everything comes up. I have things all online, Facebook, YouTube, videos and pictures to illustrate the journey and the investments and the different things I just illustrated.
Okay, brother. I appreciate it, and I'll continue listening. All right. Thanks a lot, brother Oshi, for your program.
All right. Thank you, Brother Ralph. Thank you so much, man. And I will be continuing to put this information out there. I will definitely have Brother Bomani back on, talk about the opportunity for our listeners to have the opportunity to go to Africa to see for yourself. You know, we have another caller. Afternoon, brother. How you doing, man?
Okay, brothers. How are y'all good brothers on this so-called new year?
Exactly.
Doing well, my brother. About self?
Hey, listen, basically, I know time is short, so I'm going to get to it right quick. On all of the times that you've been to home, Brother Bomani, what has been the most liberating thing that you've been able to gather from your time at home that you've been able to bring back to this country, to our people? And during these times that you have been over at home, what is the opportunity for import and export businesses being put together for those that cannot, go there and stay, but would like to be able to go at least once or twice a year and do business with the brothers and sisters over there?
I appreciate your question. There's an abundance of opportunity. First of all, in general, you're looking at a developing nation. One of the most important things that I see, and you can also add this to your import and export vision, is in the center of the country, where it's called the Branghafa region. You literally can consider that a sustainable living heaven. Everything that you can grow, all of the food that you need organically in that region. You also have access to land at a very reasonable price. So one of the best investment I always talk about is land investment, where you can get even a quarter of an acre of land for $500 US, and you can build a small chalet or a small 2-bedroom home for $20,000. You can grow your food, but the most important thing is you can be a part of a community. So once we get more and more things set up in our repatriation community, we'll be able to manage investments like yours. When you build your home, we'll be able to manage it for you to where you can use it as a timeshare or bed and breakfast. That's one example. But then all the fruits and vegetables that's grown in that area, or all the craft, I should say, that comes from Kumasi, from the craft village, that's your best opportunity to do import and export. We have a lot of brothers there at the culture centers, both in Accra and Kumasi, that's always talking about they want to meet investors that they can ship over products that their communities and villages make. That's in a different part of Ghana that they represent, and the shipping is done by from freight to air. So it's just different options, and also people like ourselves are going back and forth, or you can bring things with you and bring things back when you do make those journeys. So it's
so the government is allowing for outsiders to own land.
You can lease land, which is on a 50-year lease renewal.
Okay.
So it's not set up to where the terminology of the word own is used. I'm sure in America you use the word lease and things like that, and it's probably all the same. But yeah, it's just a lease base, not ownership base. So it's also when we talk about citizenship and certain things, I usually have a separate program, a Repatriation Investment Conference, that I've pre-recorded videos on my YouTube channel where you have different people talk about presentation as far as land investment, the process of investment. So a lot of those are things that you'll find on the website once you click on YouTube and start seeing videos. So our goal over the period of time was to cover many different things as far as like another investment, cashew farming. Manufacturing is always a great one, especially if you can fill up a warehouse full of sewing machines and people, and get a chain of manufacturing to where you're producing certain clothes and certain garments that people highly are looking for, outside of Africa or outside of Ghana, because then you can also do import export inside of the continent. So there's an unlimited amount of opportunities. It's based on us doing field research and putting plan little by little and putting your resources and then connecting with people who you feel like you can do business with.
Well, it just seems like we need to be in a position to set up some kind of import-export business in regards to Ghana and our people in the U.S. It has to be some sort of product that we could identify that could be used to, put together the necessary trade. I mean, it's been, a long time, of going back and forth, not only yourself but others, and it just doesn't seem like we've made the connection yet to put things in place economically to be able to build a community there. So, we got to figure out how we can identify a product to bring back here and be able to also identify a product here to take there to be able to generate type of revenue to build the community that we need to do over there. And, just keep up the good work, brother. And, Brother Oshi, Hotep, and talk to you soon. Peace.
Hey, thank you, my dear brother. Thank you so much. And continue to listen. I appreciate you. One of the things, Brother Bomani, that I, in my travels to Ghana that I realized, just like it was mentioned before about other countries that are in Ghana, like the Chinese and the Japanese. In fact, when I was at Amakusa's and Nana Kofu's place, One Africa, because it's right on the ocean. In fact,
right, exactly.
Between Cape Coast and Elmina Dungeon. And I was looking on the horizon one night, and there was a fishing vessel way out on the horizon, and I asked the brother, I said, is that ship Ghanaian? He says, no, it's Japanese. The Japanese deal with the Ghanaian people to fish in their water, and everything is done on that ship. They grab all the fish and clean them and gut them and package them, freeze them, the whole thing, and sell the surplus back to Ghana, because the main thing goes back to Japan, because they fished out all of their, they've eliminated the fish in their region, in their waters.
Wow.
And it's just like in China, that I just mentioned the fact that there are Chinese men that are marrying Ugandan women. They're staking their claim, and the fact that we don't manufacture anything. When I was at that cocoa farm, I was at a cocoa farm, and realizing that all of that raw material was going to Europe for Cadbury, Nestle, Hershey, Swiss chocolate. There's all of the cocoa and all of the chocolate, it comes out of Africa, but we don't manufacture anything. We don't produce anything, which is very disheartening for me.
Yeah, absolutely, heartbreaking, serious. And that's why we have the opportunity now to begin to put things in place for ourselves as a people, now that we've seen that we've fall behind around the world.
Well, I look at it though like this, Brother Bomani. I'm not interested in trying to compete with anybody.
Right, good point.
The whole idea is that we become self-sufficient, that whatever it is that we need, we have. Or we have the ability to trade because of what we have for the things that we need. So you come from a position of strength as opposed to begging, pleading, compromising. Now, I don't, compromise to some degree could be good or bad, but the bottom line is control. That we have control of the land, we have control of the resources, we have control of the life of our people. We are sovereign, and we can make sure that we can produce stuff that our people need. And that if we can't produce it, we can find ways to do it. You know, now you mentioned a place for a building that is being built to deal with the trade and investment. And now, is that going to be in Accra?
No, I'm building everything. I'm building in the center of the country, all sustainable, in the Brong-Ahafo region. We're building a fresh headquarters to where we can run all of our business and investments and Africa tours that we stayed in business doing over the years, to where we're using the profits to build a fresh headquarters where we can employ brothers and sisters from the community and local village in the area, and also share sustainable skills that we have learned in computer technology, electrical and electronic systems. So we need the land and that space to even just build a small manufacturing, to get into manufacturing your own fuel, to where you start arranging your own bus lines and doing many things you want to tap into, include ecotourism and more of land development. So it does put us in a position to where we can take things to a different level. And I'm one of those people that believe that there's too many people in the southern part of the country that's doing different things, and center and above or northern part of the country that's where a lot of the opportunities are, especially if you want to manufacturing and really enterprise, because then now you get land for a better price and it's more fertile, and then it's just now, fresh new opportunities.
I know this is probably kind of like northwest of Accra. How far?
This is dead center north, 7 hours.
7 hours?
7 hours from Accra.
Okay. Because I know I've been to the northern region. I've been to Tamale.
Yeah, this is in the center, just right at the midpoint. Tamale is about 13, 14 hours.
Okay. That's beautiful. In fact, that's what really should happen in other African countries, is that there is a place developed to be like a place that we go to for a clearinghouse for investment, information, and technology. Oh man, that's outstanding, Brother Bomani. That is really great, and I'm very happy to hear that, as opposed to just going there and visit, buy some stuff, and come back home.
Yeah, some people are gonna naturally do that, which is fine because it's a tour. But we're in the purpose of repatriation and investing. And that's our technique to do it, just doing tours. And just, so like right now when we get to Ghana, we spend 3 days into the Brong-Ahafo region. One day we're going to actually go to a permaculture institute, and then we're going to go right to the land where we have where we're building our community. And beside that is another community that's actually in place, that's been going for a while, and they're called Benue Village, which is a community of brothers and sisters from the African diaspora that believe in that vision of repatriation and sustainable living, but also don't believe that everybody should be piled up into the main cities also. So we're there with another group, so that's the good thing about it. And we have the same vision, which is to give our best energy to assist more and more of our people to come home and provide them all of the natural tools to do so.
I mentioned at the presentation you did during Kwanzaa about Fiancra. Are they still in existence? And you mentioned that you were aware of them.
Yes, they're still in existence. I don't know to what degree, but they don't have the tour groups that used to go up there before, and the management, I'm not sure if it's still organized.
Okay. But you're pretty much doing the same thing they did, and then bringing up people there. And there were many people that took advantage of that because they were offered land.
Yes, it's similar in some points. Absolutely. Their process and management flow is a little different. What I have is just a community that we're building for our business enterprise, and my closest people that are connected to me that's been traveling with me over the period of time. They'll have that option and access to live there in the guest homes, and then also those who get recruited to work there on the projects. It's a lot of work that has to be done, a lot of homes that has to be put up, and structures and sustainable systems, including electrical, water, all those things have to be put in place. So the skilled people will be also living there. So it's and that will build the foundation. and then once we complete that project, then we can build, you know, bigger development and then offer different options of people who want to repatriate from single bedroom, self-contained home for probably a very reasonable price of like $15,000, and just make repatriation reasonable to where someone can actually, you know, pay for a home and they eventually own the home and you know, have ownership in that community. So I want to make it this something that's very friendly for like-minded brothers and sisters who believe the philosophies of Marcus Garvey when he talked about Africans should return to the ancestral land and be a part of nation building.
I agree. We only have a few minutes, Brother Bomani, and I just want to thank you for being on, and I'll be communicating with you because it is my desire to repatriate. And having been to Ghana numerous times, I always say that I could definitely live in Ghana. In fact, the only place I've been to, Brohapa region, I've been to the Tamale, Eastern region, Santiago. The only place I haven't been is Takoradi. Have you been to Takoradi?
I've not been to Takoradi either.
Okay. Well, maybe when we go on the trip, man, we'll venture off and run over to Takoradi and see what that looks like, you know. But I really thank you for coming on, and I will be promoting what you're doing and asking the listeners to go to your website, you know, go to africafortheafricans.org and check out your Facebook for the pictures that you've taken of previous tours. But even go on to YouTube. Go to YouTube and look at some of the videos. And like I said, you have taken over 300 of our brothers and sisters to Africa over the years. And that is fantastic. I really appreciate what you have done. And I look forward to communicating with you because I think I'm going to be coming on one of your tours. You know, it is very reasonable. You're talking about 14 days, anywhere from $3,500 maybe to $4,000 for 14 days, and get a chance to go throughout the country. Some of the things that you can see and witness is just phenomenal. You know, give me some words in closing, brother. We've only got a couple minutes.
Yes, family. Want to let everyone know that the documentation that was just shared, the YouTube page is youtube.com/Bomani 2007, and once you click on that link, it takes you directly to the YouTube page to where you see a list of a few different playlists, and I have over 1,000 videos. Most of it is just traveling around Ghana, dealing with all aspects of what we have on our tour. Repatriation, investment, business, nightlife, networking, shopping, going to different tour sites, Holocaust dungeons, Pan-African sites, all just to tie up the energy of the purpose of the vision of repatriation.
Thank you so much, and I'll be talking with you again soon here on this program. We in this program begin every program with the words of Stephen Biko. The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the minds of the oppressed. This program is dedicated and committed to helping to free the African mind.
Absolutely, family.
Thank you. Bless you, my brothers and sisters. We will be back again on Wednesday for more of African Perspective. Peace.
All right, take care, family.